That way if your hand slips, you get sucked into it and it makes you do a flip over the whole machine. Hey, thanks for showing up on time and welcome back. Today we're going to be looking at the catch mechanism for this bonnet. And I had an old round nose front end latch for this, and it seems like it's gonna work. So I have the old round nose front end latch for this, and it's not quite the same size, or it doesn't seem to be the same size for the Clubman front end, but I was able to make it work here. I'll take it off and show it in a bit, but it does slide back and forth. And I have this little brass bolt thing I made in the lathe a couple days ago, nothing fancy, but we'll get you up to speed here. What I'm gonna do, I need to make some sort of bracket here to hold this, keeping it down low. It's gonna basically move this back and forth. This side's gonna have a spring on it to keep it tensioned at all times, and then, you know, just pull a lever from the inside of the car. It'll just pull this way, unlatch the pin, and the bonnet should pop up. All right, here's where I started. The bottom of the catch that gets bolted to the front end here, they had these square holes right here, and they weren't really lined up with the pin in the bonnet, so I did grind them out. As you can see, that they kind of rounded off, and I pushed it to the left just a little bit. And I just did like a mediocre tack weld here just to do some trial play to see if this is gonna work out. And obviously I'll grind this down smooth and fill in this crud afterwards. But I got these brass washers here that I made. And then here's a sliding mechanism, which just sits on top of here. Now the goal is to have these bushings just a tick higher than this sliding thing. That way it doesn't pinch against the front of the car here. You want this to slide back and forth. So it's important to get those just a hair bigger. The stock ones that were in here were all worn down, and when I pinched it together, this was basically grinding the front end of this car, so I needed to make a new bushing, and those work out fine. And then here's the top plate, and we'll just bolt it in like this, and then we'll get this one going. Get this nice and tight how you like. So now these are, the top plate's super tight on those bushings, and this still has some free play. There's almost a little bit of wiggle here. I probably could make those bushings a tick thinner just to give it a little less slug, but I don't want nothing to rub, so I think I'm just gonna leave it the way it is. I think the spring on the end will keep it from rattling about. So obviously the pin goes through the hole. It's on a bevel, so when it goes down, it slides it over. And then the spring on this side will click it back, keeping it from popping up. I don't really have a latch for the bonnet, so as long as this stays shut, the bonnet shouldn't flap open, but we'll get to that point when we cross it. Anyways, at the end of the cable, I have this knurled bolt that I made here. Just a piece of brass I had laying around the lathe. But it's kind of like a BMX cable nut you would use on a brake lever. And that's kind of what I'm going to use here. The cable itself is an Odyssey linear cable from a BMX store right down the street. And I've used these before. They work very good, and they're easy to replace if they get stretched or worn out. They're linear, so when they're bent, because it's linear on the inside, you don't get that. It doesn't get stuck inside the housing. I don't know really how to explain it, but you want to get a linear cable. That way you can make a silly straw with all loops and curls and turns and stuff, and it would still act freely inside the housing. It's got to be linear, that's all. All right, so this is just like an ordinary spring I got from the hardware store. I didn't get something too loose, but nothing too hard to pull either. This just feels right. So obviously this will just hook on here. I mean, I really don't want to. I'd like to keep the front here as simple looking as possible, but I need the bonnet to stay shut. And I don't want to do hood pins, so I want to do a classic, just a regular latch is fine for me. So I got to make some sort of bracket over here that holds the end of the spring to keep it tight like this, and then the cable will pull on this side, which should work pretty good. All right, next up is this bonnet pin. And I did get a new one from Mini Spares, and it was the round nose one, or better yet, this was the Clubman pin that I needed, but didn't fit the round nose latch, so I had to put it in the lathe and just take off a little bit of metal on the outside here. And then I did make a little aluminum washer here too. It's gonna sit there. However, I didn't get the spring that goes in between here. So I went to the hardware store and I picked one up. I picked up 2 of them. This one's on the mellower side. I think once it's screwed in, it's gonna get pretty tight. I think I need another washer on this side actually. Hold on a second. Got me a little brass one. Now, I probably should have a brass one on here. Maybe I'll go back and do that a different time. But I didn't have a piece of brass bar stock this width. I have that big stuff, but I don't really want to cut into that just for one little washer. Yeah, this has got some tension on it. I might have to actually cut the spring. Let's see. I know this has to go all the way in. Well, almost all the way in, and I think that's gonna, I don't know. We'll thread this in and see what it does. Try it right there. Oh yeah, that's, I don't think that's gonna work. It's pretty tight. Back this up. Huh. That spring might not be that bad. It's pretty tight, but I guess that's how you'd want it, right? You want it tight so the bond doesn't come flying open. I think that'll do it. I think so. This side's sitting a little high on this side. I don't really like the gap on this side, but oop, uh-oh. Oh, there it goes. All right, I guess I'll make a little bracket to hold this spring. And then I need a little bracket to hold the cable part of this on this side. I got my fancy brass bolt right here. All right, for the spring here, I'm just gonna kind of pull it until it gets kind of tight here and to where I think it'll be a good spot. Thinking somewhere right there. Keep it dead level if we can. All right, I'm just gonna drill a hole right here. Careful not to go into my radiator underneath. I gotta drill up a size. I'm not gonna do a welded nut. I'm just gonna do a captive nut or a riv nut. It'll be nice and quick and easy. I don't have to take the radiator out to weld a nut under there. I think I gotta go one size up here. Just a smidge. What size is that? I don't know. I guess that's the one. It seems like it's a little too big, but give it a shot. A little bit of burrs on the backside. Let's see if I can get it out with a file. I like these tools, but you really can't get the back side of that. It only gets like the front. I mean, it's better. I can rub my hand out without slicing my fingers, so that's pretty good. See how well this works. got some room underneath the radiator, so that's pretty good. I do like the rev nuts, but I always feel like even though you clamp the shit out of it, if you really put a bolt in that's really tight, I feel like you could spin this when you're turning a bolt. It could spin. I only say that because I've had that happen a long time ago, and I usually just try to weld mine in if I can, but I really don't want to take the radiator out just to weld one nut. And let's be honest, it's just to hold this spring here. It's not critical, unless I don't want to ever see my motor ever again. But let's get a bolt in there and see what it looks like. I got a super slim washer right here. Brass, of course. All right. All right, I already started making a nut for this specialty bolt I already made. I just got to finish tapping this. Already started. I did make like a little bevel and a lathe here. It's just a nice little piece I'm trying to make just for the catch, for the latch, for the bonnet. So I'm a little like halfway down. I'm gonna go a little further. Get you up to speed here. Turn this up. There we go. Actually, I think I'm as far as I need to be, actually. Let that drip down in there in the bore. Get this turning again. So I like to do this better on the vise, but I get it started in the lathe just to keep it centered. But I think I'm at a point. I think I'm good. Pretty happy with that. Pretty deep too. It doesn't have to be that deep. And this is a M7 1.0 thread tap. Perfect. So I'm just gonna go ahead and chop this off right here, and then I'm gonna have to make like a little bracket to hold that. But it looks nice. It has like a little bevel to it. I think it'll look pretty cool right there on the car. Let's get this cut in the lathe. There we go. Perfect. It's a little hot. All right, here's a piece I just made. This piece will just thread in like so. And then I have like the jam nut here so I can get it at different spacing. Gives me adjustability. All right, now I'm just gonna weld like a little stock to this and then a little plate that'll mount to here. And then it'll look kind of nice. I got my hole drilled for this piece of stock here. I'm gonna do an M5.8 thread in here. I just leave the tail stock loose. I just get it pinned up inside here. And I just spin this manually. And once it starts catching thread, I loosen up the tailstock chuck here and I get this out, loosen up this chuck, and we'll bring it over to the bench vise and we'll get this tapped. Just gotta go nice and slow with this because it's not a very thick tap. And I can feel it twist right in here. So you gotta go slow with it. Also, the hole I drilled might be the wrong size hole anyways. I always pick the same bit for this M5 thread. I always get it done, but I'm not actually sure what size bit you're supposed to use for this. Yeah, just take an educated guess. It seems to work. Lubricant in there. I just use PB Blaster. That seems to work fine for me. I guess you could just spit on it too. Alright, I think I'm good. I did go up one size, 3/16 to be exact. I thought that's what I did originally, I guess not. And I gave a little inside chamfer here. And it's always good to do that because when you do run this tap through it, it's pulling itself down while also moving the metal up. So you always get that little splinter on top. So it's always good to do a little chamfer or just a bigger size drill bit just to get rid of, just to get rid of that edge. All right, now we're cooking. Perfect. All right. So yeah, this is going to be the start of the base to that little piece I just made previous to this. And I'm just going to have a bolt in from underneath. Get this back in the lathe. I'm just going to shape this out now a little bit. All right, let's see if I can not get in your way. Start right there. Not really the tool for this, but it seems to work, so we're right with that. Yeah, it's gonna take a minute. Stainless is always a little different, and I probably have my RPM speeds wrong. I can see it deflecting right before my very eyes. So I'm just trying to bring it down to this width right here, and then I'll be happy. Almost there. And then I'll start using my other tool to refine it. Yeah, I think I can start using the, I don't even know the name of these inserts really. But I have this round one here. And this one seems to do a good job making that little bevel on the end that I like. I didn't know you could see the mess I've been making over here. But yeah, I have this nice little round tool here, and it should clean this up and make a little bevel on the inside of here. And it's quite hot. Yeah, this tool works awesome. I like this tool. Still think my speed is off, but it seems to do a nice job. Take off a little more shoulder on this left side here, and I'll give it a cut, and we can weld it to this other piece here I got, perpendicular. And this will just get bolted to the top of the front grille. Just give a little more relief right here. I think that's pretty good. It looks just like a chessboard piece, I guess, at this point. Just gonna give it like a little light sanding and get this thing cut off. There's been a few times I've caught my knuckles on the chucks here, and it is freaking terrifying, I'll tell you. I'm sure I'm not the only one. A little bit of red Scotch-Brite, the way you like it. This stuff works real good. I suppose the green stuff works pretty good too. A little bit of automatic transmission fluid on here, because that's all we got at the moment for lubrication. You know that sucker's hot. Let's see if I can show you what I'm doing here. I got the napkin to keep my fingers warm. Give it a little chamfer, something to weld to. Alright. Oh, you see? The hand is quicker than the eye. So I'm just gonna tack weld it just like that. It's gonna look like a little bell, I guess. Let's get this welded. First, gotta get all the grease off it. Sorry, my hands are a little cold. All right, let's get this in the vise here and we'll get it welded. I'd say that's pretty good. Got me a small tack and my mask instantly fogged up. Someone should have told me not to breathe in this thing. I guess we'll just do this. Do it the long way. All right, that's turned out pretty good here. I'm gonna have to come back and like refine just a little bit, but let's get this thing bolted on and see what it looks like. We got the brass boys. They go right there. Guess I'm gonna have to do this with tension on it. That's okay. All right, that takes care of that. Now we gotta do the specialty piece over here. So that's gonna sit right there somewhere. I think it's gonna clear the hood, so that's good. Just gonna drill a hole right here, and just, because it's threaded now at the bottom, I'll just screw it in from the bottom here. And I don't know if you noticed, but I did I fixed, they had 3 holes on the top here, like all over the fucking place. And I just filled in with weld and re-drilled it in the center now. It look nice and appropriate for what I'm about to do there. All right, so we'll take this, got my little brass washer, of course, stick it under here, like so, and we'll just thread this guy on. Except now he's playing stupid with me, he doesn't want to thread in. Come on. I know what to thread in, I don't know why it's being a pain. There she goes. Guess we'll just point it the right direction there. And that thing is solid. And I got the little adjustable jam nut there, so I can put it however I like it. I'll just thread it in all the way for now. This can go in here, like so. And then I have this bolt right here with a hole I drilled in the center of it. And then I need another beauty washer. Take that. All right, so we're gonna get this cable through the hole here, wherever it may be. There it is, right there. Then we just got a washer and a nut. That's gonna go on the bottom, which this is gonna be a little tricky right here. It's a hard spot to get to. That looks pretty good right there. Now when I pull the other side of the cable, it should just pull the latch. I suppose we should try it before we go any further, right? All right, let's give this a proper shut and see if it'll open. Nice slamming. I just have this mocked up for now. This is not what I'm going to be using for the inside, but it's just a brake lever. That's it. Skipping ahead, going back to the interior of the car now, I'm going to try and make this latch for the bonnet release. And while I kicked around this idea with the lever for the BMX bike, I don't think I'm going to use that, but instead I came up with something like this. Basically, I was going to have the end of the cable come in through the back right here. I just drilled it out in the lathe here. So it would go through the little pinhole there. This would slip in here. There's a stop inside, so it can only go in so far. And then this would be on this side. But I hollowed out and sleeved it and made this little brass button type thing, and it just goes in and out. So I could pull it just to do, to undo the latch. And this works great. This is awesome. And then I couldn't really find a spot to put this, so I refined it a little bit. And instead of using this piece, I came up with a slimmer piece, which is just this hollow tube here. Same idea, just slides in and out. Back of the cable will go through here, like so. And that goes in there. And then I did a little set screw in the middle here so I can grab the cable so it won't fall out. Actually, there's 2 set screws. I only needed 1, but I accidentally drilled through the whole piece. So we'll just do 2 set screws for double the clamping power. And now I'm gonna go to the car and show you where it's gonna live. Now before you get your panties in a bunch, this is a hole in my roll cage, which a lot of people might not like that. You guys might not like that, but I like that. It's a nice sneaky spot, kind of high up, but maybe I gotta open the bonnet real quick. Now this is where it's gonna live. It's probably quite dangerous in that spot actually. But it's a nice straight shot for the cable to go right through the front end and go right to the latch under the bonnet. So I think this is where it's going to stay, and it's kind of cool looking. So all right, we are looking pretty good here. This will go here, this goes in and out. Not too bad, I'm happy with that. Might not be the best spot, but it is the spot. All right, I got my cable cut to length. I'm gonna start fishing this through. Goes in this hole right here that I made. Get it snaked over here. Once over here, I'm gonna have it come up in the inner wing here and go through this little tiny It's definitely a little off in transition here, but you can always drill another hole down more. Which I'm probably gonna do right now because this is too tight. I thought it was gonna be all right being a linear cable, but not the case. It's got to get down to 3/8 or 10 mil if that's the measurements you guys use over there across the pond. It's almost the same. Nah, perfect. All right, so I got a little rubber grommet. It is cold now, so I gotta heat this thing up. Make it soft so I can get it in the hole here. Flip around. All right. Nice and gummy like you like it. Okay, let's go. Get it in the hole like that. Perfect. All right, let's see if we can get this on. You can't see it, but I can see it. The cable's right in front of the hole where it needs to be, so I'll tighten up this backside. Like so. And I'll put one in the front here, and then we'll crank it down nice and tight. I mean, realistically, you kind of, I guess you would want this to go through the head of this knob here, but I really don't want a hole there. I just want it to be sleek like that. I don't really know how much I'm going to be opening the bonnet. Hopefully, like, just one time ever. But other than that, that's pretty much it. All right, let's get this cable all the way through here. Not really sure if you can get much slicker than that. I mean, it says so right here on the cable too. Plenty of slack over there. I guess now we'll just make the cut. Right there. Take a little bit of slack out of here. All right, perfect. Let's give this a go. Perfect. Just gotta take off a little more slack here. There we go. Let's try that. It's pretty good. And you really don't have to pull it that hard. I thought it was going to be more strenuous just being a small knob like this, but you really don't have to pull it that hard. I don't know why this one's going all the way. There she goes. All right, now for me, there's plenty of clearance with my knee and everything, and the door is still gonna shut and not follow that. I did check it and measure it. So I think we're in a good spot here. Like, my leg will never hit it. My hand's out of reach unless, you know, I really got to pull on it, but I think it's in a good spot. Unless, you know, I'm the only one driving this thing, so it should be, you know, ideally it's not a good spot, but it's my car. I can put it right there, it's fine. So now you just gotta pop your hood nice and easy. Don't have to like go down there and reach for it. Oh yeah. No, this is perfect. This is good. All right, guys, I think that's pretty much gonna wrap it up for this one. I got the latch in, the catch, the bonnet closes, shuts pretty good. I still need to do a little bit of hangers for the cable inside the fender well here, but it's just a couple of P clips. I'm gonna get some specialty ones from the bike shop, but they're just little clips, nothing too crazy. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Perfect.